Rubbing alcohol, rubber gloves, a cleaning cloth. I'd probably use some Q-tips and then this tray. So let's put it all right here. Grab a couple of Q-tips. I'm gonna be uh, replacing the thermal paste. So I got most of my these are used electronics, most of these, and I've got some good thermal paste. I think I've got also double-sided tape and some all-purpose Loctite or something like that, adhesive. And kind of over here is probably DIY stuff like and just random parts, plastic containers in this one. So I'm sorting this stuff out. Eventually got a suitcase uh, with cables and even putting like there's a wetsuit and just random stuff, roto zips. And so I've been it's the beginning of September 2025. So this is a headlight. And then I could turn on my spotlights. I have two of them. So there's one, two, and there's also laptops sitting in the back underneath this bench that I've been turning or that I've been using. Laptop. I've got the hard or disk ROM out and the keyboard out, and just kind of laying this stuff wherever I could put it. And I took off the back cover. I use these plastic spatulas from construction stuff. But really, and then just laying parts. So this is pretty much a 2 GB RAM. I'm upgrading this to 8.8. And the thing, I cleaned up pretty much the hard drive, which is kind of right here next to it. It works and everything. But you know, to do a complete upgrade, I'm probably going to change out this CR2032 battery, hopefully. I don't really have to, but it's been a while, it seems like. So and then I put kind of like the plastic screws inside of this small container, so I can pretty much move or put, you know, pry tools away. I'm probably not going to use that. I put that inside of the box underneath. But I've got a little small tray right here where I also put tools. You guys could kind of just see the, and then inside this blue bin, I also keep some tools. I actually, and then I keep kind of like a bucket of cleaning rags, another small cleaning tray, things like that. So basically do want to kind of try a different screwdriver. The one that I'm using is a little bit too big, or the tip of it is just really bad. So gotta, and even on this other small screwdriver, the tip is kind of bad. I didn't think it was this bad. I didn't really check. It's not too bad, but this one is actually a little bit smaller, as it seems. So I'm going to zoom into pretty much there's three screws, and then the copper coil, and then even underneath the fan, and the heat sink right there might be thermal paste. So I was, yeah. So, and then right there is kind of like the power supply and all the other cables, and there's a battery port right there. So I just only had to disconnect the battery, the keyboard, and the battery. So it's going to be a little messy at first, so I want to get like a cleaning tray out first. Probably clean off the screwdriver a little bit. So I could probably put stuff where I know is a pretty good spot. And let's just try to pry this off. So what I'm going to do first is try to get the first three screws. They are actually numbered. There's like a number 3, number 2, and a number 1. So that's kind of the order to tighten them down. And then I might have to take off the fan a screw on the fan, maybe disconnect the fan right there, and then hopefully pry stuff off. So I guess I don't want to mix these screws up with the other stuff, so I put the tray and the sock right there, and then I could spray it with rubbing alcohol if I had to. So kind of like these tweezers a little bit, I was able to remove that connector, the fan connector. So I loosened up all the screws and even on the fan. So I'm kind of doing this before I replace the RAM. I'm gonna get 8 gigabytes. It's with all the old laptops and things, I even it might be worth upgrading at least the RAM, if the hard drive still works and stuff, and then you'll just have a really smooth computer and buying a boot disk or making your own boot disk. So took out the screws. So the screws aren't in there, and then I should be able to lift this out of place. And it wants to move with the heat sink. All right, so that was pretty easy. So there's thermal paste, but looks a little messy and stuff. So I'm gonna clean this stuff off. So I could put it right here, just on the edge, I think, or with the tray. So I'm gonna basically use a cleaning cloth. I don't think I'm going to have to use it on. So I got a piece of paper that was nearby, and now I'm gonna just try to add some alcohol. So I gotta kind of take my time, but the ridges and the paper, the smoothness of the paper works really good, I think. So just in tough corners or straight areas, corners especially, I could really clean this up just with a piece of paper. And maybe probably use a toothbrush for the heat sink or anything else, but just the piece of paper is working good. So, first I'll clean the CPU with the fresh paper and this heatsink. So it's almost finished cleaning. You can really see I got a lot of the thermal paste removed, even the piece of paper, and I still haven't fully cleaned that up, but it's going to get really cleaned up. So just wadding the paper to a clean spot, and I'm going to use that for this. So spray some rubbing alcohol on this, and then mainly on the chips, but like I mentioned, the straight edge really cleans up a really good area, good way to clean up around the CPU or thermal paste. A lot of people are a little bit intimidated, I would think. So I'm gonna use my right hand basically and really clean this up a lot better, I think. So, but just letting the alcohol soak in with this one, and then just gently, probably scraping away. I mean, there are some really fine edges. We're pushing away. And clean this up a little bit, a little at a time. So there's so I just got a really clean spot on the piece of paper, and then just cleaned up as much as I could, and probably do one more cleaning, just mainly around the chipped areas. And then just got a fresh piece, so I'm gonna use it as a small pad, just to any extra residue. And that's pretty much cleaned up. What I'm probably going to do, I'm not going to probably spread. Well, I've got a special spatula to spread the thermal paste, but I'm going to finish up cleaning this, I would think. So this heat sink, it's really, I could really see a little small fine, but there are a couple of spots that I'm gonna try to fine clean with like a toothpick or something. All right, so that's mostly cleaned up. So I'm gonna put this to the side. And then I'm gonna finish up cleaning up as much as I can, kind of well, within this area. So it's nothing much. There's a plastic case and stuff. Took off the fan. So blow or spray rubbing alcohol or peroxide actually. Just clean up a little bit and probably a toothbrush. So yeah, and then yeah, I just mainly use just a cloth and just wiping off. I wiped off the fan, and now it's time to kind of put this stuff back. So just getting just really fine dust, I think, was good enough. So that just sits there. Just wiped it off. I didn't spray into the fan or anything. Then the screw. So again, I just had to get a different screwdriver just for the last torque. So I just put the fan screw on, and then now I could try to plug it in. So definitely had to, well, definitely the fan plug is in. I felt it lock it, or the pin setting in there, but just had to figure out which side was up or down. And now I could add the thermal paste and install the heatsink and the screws. Alright guys, so it's getting towards the end. So I got the thermal paste and a spatula. And I should be able to just get by with only on the chips and so it won't be a mess. So that won't really spread all over and build up other leaks. So I'm just going to just apply it to the chips. So I'm going to have to remove some, but it's mainly just at the center of the chip. And then adding on the heatsink, it's going to try to spread that, but I couldn't control the glob I had on the spatula, so I've got to try to pick off some of that. So I just ended up kind of spreading it all on the surface, and then now I'm just going to get a piece of paper and clean up towards the middle where I made a little mess. So using paper is really good for thermal paste cleaning. And now I should be able to just put back on the heatsink and the screws. So just laid that on top. I could take off the rubber gloves and do a good job in tightening those down. So I just threaded the screws on, and now I'm just go 1 2 3 1 2 3, and I'll talk to you guys on the next video. So kind of tightened it up evenly, and the last one was number 2. Let's just double check the tightness, but I cleaned up everything. I put the thermal paste back in there. Didn't have to use the Q-tips because I was using paper, just rubber gloves and cleaning stuff. I got to clean the spatula. Then I've got pretty much the cover. Like I mentioned, this is going to be in 3 stages. With first the thermal paste, and then just the battery and the RAM, which is going to be approximately 5 days. But basically, just kind of feel right where it starts to tighten up, and just kind of memorizing how tight it is, and while tightening it down evenly, you go like a quarter turn or until it starts to feel tight, like and then so yeah, so that's finished up. I'm not gonna worry too much else for now, besides maybe cleaning up anything around there with the rag and things. Making sure just even with lap tape, if I had some good glue and stuff, I could actually add some right there to help hold this down a little bit more.